Welcome to the 2021 Fort Wayne Running Club Annual Banquet. We are live from Steve Hyman's basement, and there are opportunities for you to give feedback during the meeting. We'll have some things to vote on, and you can ask questions and so forth. So we encourage you throughout the entire presentation today to participate. If you're online, you can give us feedback, and then we will respond and deal with that as it comes up. So the agenda for today, we're going to start with an annual meeting that's required by our club bylaws. And then we're going to do our presentations for our annual awards. The Points Series awards will be included in that, and then the Volunteer of the Year award, the Spirit of Running award, the Golden Shoe, the Extra Mile, and so forth. So all of our annual awards that you've seen presented in the past, those will happen tonight. We'll announce our 2022 banquet plans, and there will just be a few more things to clean up at the end of the meeting. I would at this time like to introduce Steve Heim. He is our incoming president for the running club. And Steve, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
And say hello, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, yep. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. We appreciate it. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday, so everybody's getting excited, right? You got your snacks and the nacho dips on the stove, so settle in and spend a little bit of time with us this afternoon. So thank you, Frank. I appreciate it. I'm going to go off agenda for just a quick minute here, if I might. Frank, to thank you for your leadership over the past 2 years.
Thank you.
You're a person that I've greatly admired, even before my affiliation with the Fort Wayne Running Club and being on the board. You've been an example to the Fort Wayne running community of what fitness can do in a person's life. You had a very, very public experience some years ago with Fort Wayne's Smallest Winners, in which you did something that transformed your entire life. And I remember an article, as I was kind of a new member of the Fort Wayne Running Club, that you wrote, or at least interviewed for the newsletter. And I believe I saw something here recently, Frank, where maybe a Facebook comment or something, where since 2013, when you kind of started becoming a pretty active person, you put in like 17,000 miles.
I did. Last week I crossed 17,000 miles in my journal, which I started on June 1st, 2013.
Incredible. That's like 6 trips from New York to Los Angeles. That's incredible. Congratulations on that. But then I had another opportunity to admire you, Frank, because I got on the board of directors about a year ago, and you've been the president for the year where it's impossible to be a president, right? And what a fine example of leadership. You never ever let them see you sweat. You've been calm and consistent, and just have led this organization through a really, really tough year, and full speed ahead and accomplished many things. So I have an honor today, as one of the first official acts of being a new president of the Fort Wayne Running Club, to present to you on behalf of the members, the directors, and the officers of the Fort Wayne Running Club this plaque in appreciation for your outstanding leadership as president.
Thank you very much. I'm honored. It's been a privilege being a part of the running club. When I started running, the members of the club and the members of the board were my heroes. And to have an opportunity to work in the club with people like Judy and Aaron and all the mics. There's been a lot of mics over the years. To work with folks like that when I started running, I looked up to them as these like really amazing and cool people, and then to be co-workers. And I started as a runner, and I've just made a ton of friends in the community. Wherever you go, runners are cool people. Yes, and that's one thing I've learned over the last several years. So thank you very much. This is a tremendous, it's an honor to have been a part of the club.
An honor. So I'm gonna ask you to stick around, Frank, for a
Yes,
few
sir.
minutes. We're gonna do a business meeting. That's the boring part, I'm sorry, but we have to do it. The Fort Wayne Running Club is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and you're a member club of the Roadrunners Club of America. But part of our bylaws require that we do an annual business meeting each year in one of the first 3 months of the calendar year. So we're gonna do something that's never been attempted before. And we're gonna do a virtual business meeting, right? We hope we pull it off. So I'm gonna go ahead and call that meeting to order. Gonna talk about the treasurer's report just a little bit. This is just a summary version. We sent out earlier this morning, we sent out a more detailed report of the club's 2020 profit and loss statement. So if you want to dig into how much was for this race, please pull up that document and take a look at it. But this is kind of a summary version of what our income was from membership fees, contributions, race income, and then we put a separate line for Riley because I think it's worth mention. And actually had a question on Facebook even prior to this live stream about the Riley income and the Riley expenses. Except for a netting of some very, very small administrative expenses that the Fort Wayne Running Club has for the race for Riley, all of the proceeds go back to the Riley Foundation. So here you see that $17,024 raised for registrations for the Run for Riley. And that all went back into the donation back to Riley. And the benefit to Riley is even bigger than that. We're going to get to that in a minute, but there's actually some independent sponsorship donations that go straight to Riley. So we're going to get to that in just a minute. But essentially, we finished up 2020 with a small loss, which in my opinion is incredible given the kind of year it was. So to be able to get through 2020 and have just somewhere between $7,000 and $8,000 operating loss was remarkable in my opinion. The balance sheet, again, this is just a very summarized version of it, but we have about $63,000 of cash in the bank. There's a small refundable deposit that creates a slight asset for us. And then our equipment, net of depreciation, about $10,000. So we have total asset value in the neighborhood of about $75,000 if we round up. You'll see over on the equity side of the balance sheet, there's a listing there, a contribution in honor of Barry Peterson. We earmarked that because it has specific purpose. It's funded from a trust in honor of Barry Peterson, and it's earmarked to honor high school athletes. So that's part of our cash asset, and certainly retained an earmark for that purpose going forward, and will be used in that manner. So we're in solid shape in terms of the balance sheet, and ready to move into 2021 and have an excellent year. So I would like, because it's necessary, to accept a motion to approve the treasurer's report in a second. I'm going to have to do that obviously by people that are in the room with me here. So Erin Brady says she moves, and Cindy Owen says she seconds. I'm going to ask if our excellent tech driver Tina Christie can push out a poll. And this is honor system now. Okay, if you're a member of the Fort Wayne Running Club, please vote to approve the treasurer's report. If you're a guest, please do not vote, okay? But we'd love to have you vote next year. So we'll go ahead and run that poll, and we'll kind of watch that as the meeting proceeds. So I want to talk a little bit about 2020 and what happened over the course of 2020. We say that Fort Wayne Running Club shows its spirit, determination, and ingenuity. Obviously, 2020 was a really tough year with the pandemic and everything that happened. So, Frank, I'm sure you were sitting in the leadership spot, so you can kind of appreciate that position, some of the things that happened. But we had a rather successful year when we look back and look at the things we've accomplished back in 2020. I was a brand new member on the board starting out in January, and obviously one of the first events that I got to attend and witness and be a part of was our annual awards banquet with guest speaker Dick Beardsley. And I do want to give some recognition to the banquet committee that put this thing together, chaired by Judy Telepaw and Also assisted by Frank Murphy, Matt Harold, Aaron Brady, Cindy Owens, Tina Christie, and Adam Dyer for putting together a fantastic 2020 banquet with Dick Beardsley. As most of you probably remember, Dick Beardsley is probably most famous for the Boston Marathon back in 1982 that he almost won. I say almost, right? But Dick is quite a motivational speaker, and he wrote a book called Staying the Course. And I don't know that any of us realized back in January just how much we needed that advice, staying the course as that year unfolded and became challenging. So I'd also be remiss if I didn't give a special thank you to Kevin Croy of Fleet Feet for his participation and his assistance in getting Dick Beardsley as a speaker to the 2020 awards. So I wanted to keep going through that 2020 in review slide. And you know, one of the things that I'm very thankful for as being a resident here in Fort Wayne is the fantastic trail system we have here. We have, I think if you're a 100-mile-a-month runner, you could probably just about run your entire month and not step on the same spot 2 times if you use the entire trail system. So it's wonderful. The Fort Wayne Running Club adopts about a 2-mile section of the trail here in Southwest on the towpath, and each year we go out and do some trail cleanup. And Matt Harold, who's on our board of directors, and also Jonathan Gutschall, a member, are most instrumental in leading those efforts and making that a successful endeavor to keep that section of our trails very clean. We did have, in spite of things that happened, a very successful race season in 2020. Kathy Berghoff, race director of the Fanny Freezer, kicked us off, and many of you probably run the Fanny Freezer every year, and it usually earns its namesake, but it's 5K, so we get through it, we get in the car and warm up and have a great start to the point series. So
that was Kathy's debut as a race
director.
Yes.
Wonderful, yeah.
So it was very cool.
Very great event. And then we were cruising as normal into the end of March toward the Nutra Run, and race director Doug Morris was getting ready for that. And Frank, I think that's about the time things started to change in terms of anything we've seen before.
But if you remember, March led to some very quick shutdown orders as far as folks being sent home from work to work from home, and travel restriction, and you were quarantining for 2 weeks for various things and so forth. There were so many unknowns in March, and following the guidance from the RRCA and from extended discussion and board meetings, the club with Doug as the RD, we decided to go virtual for the Nutra Run. That's the first time that we've, as a club, have ever staged a virtual race. Doug did an amazing job pulling all of that together.
I agree.
And I was super impressed too by the club's membership, who, okay, we lost a race in person that we all enjoy doing these races, and we received so much positive feedback from our club membership saying, wow, this was really cool. And everybody just understood, we're facing unprecedented times. Let's pull together, let's have each other's back. And the Nutra Run was, by any of our initial hopes for it, was just far more successful than we had hoped it would be.
Yeah.
So kudos to Doug and to our membership for making that all work as seamlessly as it did.
Yeah, I think one of the neat things about the Nutra Run is that it was really one of the early races, at least locally, to shift gears and be virtualized and even become a success. When we were in a time when, you know, obviously anxiety was high over this new disease that nobody knew anything about, and you know, Doug and this board found a way to make the Nutra Run happen, even in the face of all that. So yeah, it was a great experience. And then our marquee event, usually in July, which is Runners on Parade, one of the biggest 5Ks in the region annually. Yeah, the Three Rivers Festival ended up being canceled just not too long before before the go, no go decision on that event happened. And I think it would have been really, really easy at that point in time to kind of piggyback off of the Three Rivers Festival, which got canceled, and say, hey, we don't have any way to do runners on parade, because that was kind of what was happening back in July of 2020. But I think race director Aaron Brady and this board had a little different idea about what we should do.
We did, and obviously, if there's no parade, there's no runners on parade.
Right.
So we had to pivot, and what Aaron came up with, going to Franke Park and doing it just a little different. But we were one of the first races to go to using wave starts and social distancing protocols during an event, and there were runners from other communities that were there observing what we were doing, so that they could learn from our example and then follow some of those practices at successive events. So I love the fact that not only did we figure out a way to do it safely and responsibly, but we did so in such a way that it was a way to set an example, a positive example for the larger community.
That was one of the things that really, that I thought was really outstanding, was that so many other race directors that were aspiring to bring back in-person racing were there, and runners in the park, just to see how Aaron and the Fort Wayne Running Club board put safety protocols in place, and learning from that and learning how to safely do in-person racing, even in the midst of a global pandemic. I thought it was a great day. It was a motivating day for the Fort Wayne running community to be able to go have a casual, low-key, very safe, very comfortable event, and just enjoy the sport that we all enjoy. So what a success. And then, obviously Run for Riley, right? That's an annual event that raises funding. This is really an event that's made to support the Riley Foundation. And kudos to race director Jonathan Gutschalk, and I want to recognize all the people on the Riley Race Committee, including Bill Oliver, Tina Christie, Beverly Murphy, Barb Richards, and Carmen Say, for putting together, again, a remarkable event this past year and raising over $26,000 to support the Riley Foundation. That's just fantastic. Yes, we talked about the $17,000 that shows up as income and expense in our P&L just a little bit ago. And even in addition to that, there's some outside sponsors that, through this event, donate funding directly to Riley. And $26,000 for this cause is just a remarkable thing that this club, this board, this race committee does every year. So, and then lastly, the turkey trot. The turkey trot was obviously a fantastic, successful event to close up the Fort Wayne Running Club Series race season in 2020. And it wasn't without its challenges, because I recall that as the turkey trot was coming to us, and we felt pretty comfortable that we had a lot of experience at doing in-person racing, all of a sudden the COVID numbers started to go up and up and up. So here we were faced with, another decision. Could we do the turkey trot? And got to tip my hat to the excellent job of our race directors, Stacy Hartman and Tim Zumstein, for being able to put together a fantastic, fun event. And I've said over and over that I think the turkey trot wasn't only an event that, that the Fort Wayne running community enjoyed. I think it was an event that the Fort Wayne Running Club needed back around that time, just because of what was happening with the pandemic and the numbers, and, kind of we were starting to feel pretty good, and then things were starting to go backwards. So all in all, when you think about 2020 and its challenges and everything that, could have happened, Frank, I think we had a remarkable 2020 season.
I'm certainly pleased with just how well people responded to the challenges. Our club membership responded, our board members responded. Just as a running community, again, it's just further evidence of the fact that wherever you go, runners are just cool people.
Fantastic people, that's right. Yep. Okay, I'm going to shift gears here just a little bit. I'm going to go into a little bit of new business, and then I promise you I'm going to let us get to the exciting part here and get into some awards. But the Fort Wayne Running Club board did do a rather significant change of process, I'll call it, back in the tail end of 2020, and actually had to change the Fort Wayne Running Club bylaws a bit to be able to do it. But in the past, when officers were due to turn over and renew, all 4 of the officer positions would be reelected and start new that on January 1st of that following year. And the nominations committee back in 2020 said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we elect a new president and secretary on even years, and then elect a new vice president and treasurer on odd years? And the benefit of that is that there's never 100% turnover of officers. So you've got some leadership continuity, and some of the people that have been involved with the activities in the agenda will still carry on and be on the leadership committee of the Fort Wayne Running Club. So that went into place brand new. And actually the election cycle that took place in December of 2020 with the new officers that took over here on January the 1st of 2021. So I'd like to present, if I could get Tina to put up the slide of the 2021 officers and board members. I'm your new president, and I'm honored to take this position, and promise I'll work hard to support this board and all of the members out there in putting forward an agenda that you want to see carried out. Our secretary, Kathy Berghoff. Kathy's probably listening to this right now on Facebook live stream and taking some minutes. So, and then our 2021, these are officer positions that will end actually at the end of 2021 and either renew or be reelected. Our vice president, Tina Christie, and our treasurer, Bill Oliver. The Fort Wayne board members that were reelected for 21 and 22 terms. Our board members are elected for 2-year periods. Were Kathy Berghoff, Aaron Brady, Tina Christie, and Doug Morris. Current board members that were elected for 20 and 21 are Michael Cardelli, Kevin Croy, Adam Dyer, myself, Matt Harrell, Bill Oliver, Cindy Owens, Judy Tillapaw, and Mike Bohr. And then we have some brand new board members that came in to join us for the 21 and 22 session. And that's Phil Gray, Todd Lehman, and Danny Sullivan. And you know, here we are, it's just the very beginning of February, and I know that several of those have been hard at work already doing some things like backing up the web administration and on our policy committee and so forth. So welcome aboard, Phil, Todd, and Danny. And then we have a couple other positions, and I think it's very unique to point out that, you know, there are some positions in the Fort Wayne Running Club that can be filled by members who are not currently on the board. Our points director, Mike Clendenin, who's done this for a couple of years and just does a phenomenal job at watching our point series events and keeping our points in line. And our volunteer coordinator, Sandy Junk, is still on board with us. And a couple of thank yous to some people who have fulfilled their terms. The officers who completed, obviously, including Frank here, whom I succeed as president, and Vice President Tina Christie. Tina jumped right in. She's jumping into a new term, so thank you, Tina. Secretary Stacy Hartman and Treasurer Tim Zumstein. And a couple of folks that have completed board terms that ending 12/31 of 2020 is Robin Berghoff, Stacy Hartman, Frank Murphy, and Tim Zumstein. So your contributions are greatly appreciated. We thank you for serving on as officers and board members of the Fort Wayne Running Club. I just want to point out that your board and your officers are all volunteers. This is a 100% voluntary thing. So when we you know, these positions are filled by people that want to jump in and help and do something, you know. So it was my feeling indeed when I joined the board. I just running and you know, everything that surrounds it has been a remarkably positive thing for me over my past 10 years. And I just felt like I wanted to jump in and do something to give back. So I'm here and I'm going to do everything I can to give back. So if anybody is interested out there in, you know, in helping in any way, if you're a member, you're not a board member, we could certainly use the help. We got some things that can be done. We need some assistant race directors, some, you know, some people that handle equipment, marketing, and all those kinds of things. So, you know, if you're interested in serving in one of those capacities and say, well, I'd like to do that, but I don't necessarily want to join the board, please let us know. We have opportunities to do that, and we certainly have the need. So the last thing I want to cover with the meeting part of the agenda is, you know, just how to kind of go look at your membership status. If you go to Run Sign Up, there's a link here. And I'll tell you what, so everybody's not scrambling for a pencil, I promise you we'll post this to Facebook after the live stream today. But if you go to runsignup.com, club public membership 636, you can see the status of your membership. So if you're one of those people like me that takes out the 3-year family deal and you're saying, well, has it been 1, 2, or 3? You can go here and take a look at it and know. And you can see if it's time to renew your membership with the Fort Wayne Running Club. We have all kinds of memberships available for individuals, for families, in increments of 1, 2, 3 year, whatever you know, whatever it is that serves you best. So that'll just about wrap up the business meeting, the first ever virtual business meeting, right, Frank?
I think it was a success.
Tina, were we approved?
We were approved.
We are approved. All right. With that, I will ask for a motion to close the annual business meeting in a second. From the folks in the room, I have Aaron moving.
Second.
And I have Tina seconding. So with that, the annual business meeting is closed. And now we're going to get on to the part everybody's waiting for. So Frank, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Very long life. That's right. Yep. Yeah. So I'd like to introduce Mike Clendenin. Mike is not only our points director, but Mike is also a former president of the Fort Wayne Running Club. Mike, I think you served the period right before Frank, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So so it's quite a privilege to be able to do this as a new president and work right alongside of the last two. That's
Excited to be here.
neat. Yeah. So Mike's gonna do the fun part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing, you know, 2020 was certainly challenging, and nothing more challenging to the board what to do with the point series. A lot of work went into coming up with a great point series for 2020. We had 15 races, but as races began to be postponed, canceled, turned virtual, the board had a decision to make what to do about the point series. And what they came up with, they canceled the Iron Runner, the Friendship Series, and the Club Series, but continued with the point series. You could acquire points on any running event that was on the list that was held at the original date, time, and had no restrictions on attendance. In other words, I believe there was 6 events that I think we have a slide here, Tina. This was a 2020 point series. And if you look on that slide, races in bold qualified for the point series. And when I put this together, I realized my error. So disregard some of the ones that counted towards the point series were the Fanny Freezer 5K, the Passage Donut Dash 10K, Monument City Classic, the Vitality 5K, Parlor City Half, Run for Wiley 5 Mile, and the Turkey Trot. I have runners in the park highlighted in error. My apologies for that. But it was really amazing just to get 6 events through, and also volunteer points. You're allowed get up to 100 volunteer points that goes towards your point series total. So with that being said, we'll get on with the award winners. Please hold your applause till the end. So we're through this. We have the 19 and under, Alana Bruckner. Second place, Matt Colvard. First place, Ella Elias with 250 points. And before I go any further, a big thanks to Three Rivers Running Company. They are again sponsored the award series plaques. This is, I know it's hard to see, this is an example of it. These are available now at Three Rivers Running Company. Just go in there and give them your name and your age group, and they'll have your award. We'd just like you to do it before the end of February. So let me continue on. Female 20 to 24. First place, Carrie Lill with 100 points. Female 25 to 29, Maria Jordan. Third place. Second place, Kathy Gray. And first place, Samantha Hunt with 360 points. Female 30 to 34. Third place, Natalie Marshall. Second place, Calissa Heron. First place, Lindsay Landgrave with 475 points. Female 35 to 39. Third place, Kimberly Van Narden. Second place, Michelle Schiffel. First place, Heidi Graff with 225 points. And my apologies if I mess up any of these names. So I know I'm going to do that. Female 40 to 44. Third place, Carmen Say. Second place, Kelly Boatwright. And first place, Amy Jo Seitz with 300 points. Our female 45 to 49. Third place, Emily Sylvester. Second place, Bridget Clements. And first place, Sherry Brown with 400 points. Female 50 to 54. We had a three-way tie for third. Kim Martin, Tina Christie, and Chris Lill. Second place was Lisa Ernstberger. And first place, Julie Gregory with 350 points. Female 55 to 59. Third place, Denise Conrad. Second place, Tammy Vore. First place, Diane Navarra with 210 points. Female 60 to 64. Susan Kahneman was third place. Colleen Marshall second. Sarah Zuber first place with 470 points. Female 65 to 69. Roxanne Kingsbury was third. Beverly Murphy second. And Joni Wyatt first place, 475 points. Female 70 and older. Third place, Willa Thompson. Second place, Patricia Jedrick Lehman. And first place, Barb Worley at 325. On to the males. Congratulations to all our female winners.
Yeah.
And on to the males. Again, your plaques are at Three Rivers Running Company, the sponsor for the Point Series Awards. And you can pick them up between now and the end of February. Male 19 and under, Evan Deppner, third place. Second place, Sam Veerkamp. First place, Parker Colvard, 200 points. There was a two-way tie for first. There was none in the male 20 to 24.
Here's your chance, males 20 to 24. Jump in there. Antifreezer's coming, okay?
There you go. Males 25 to 29. Third place, David Lill. Second place, Dustin Moore. First place, Adam Bouchard, 325. Bouchard. Male 30 to 34. Third place, Jacob Willis. Second, Matthew Hakey. And first place, Adam Dyer with 210 points. Male 35 to 39. We had a tie for third place, Lucas Scott and Tim Zunstein. Second place, Doug Morris. And first place, Mark Deppner, 225 points. Male 40 to 44. Third place, Tim Bruckner. Second place, Lucas Elias. First place, Matthew Harold with 420 points. 45 to 49, Aaron Nuke. Third place. Second place, Jeff Junk. First place, Todd Lehman, 420 points. Male 50 to 54. Third place, Frank Murphy. Second place, Eugene Yoder. First place, Shannon Plank, 385 points. Male 55 to 59. Third place, Steve Heim. Second place, Mike Vore. First place, Philip Gray, 420 points. Male 60-64. A lot of ties. Maybe they're all tied for second.
It looks like they're all tied for second.
Yeah, Mark Michael at 100. Bill Oliver, Michael Conrad, and Kevin Brennan. First place, Gary Paul with 125 points. Getting on to the senior division, and I'm in. Second, James Albertine. First place, Mike Clendenin, 275 points. Male, 70 and older. Third place, Steve Greider. Second place, Robert Bruckner. First place, Robert Lawson. Congratulations again to all of our point series. Haven't mentioned it already. Thank you, Three Rivers Running Company. You can pick up your plaques at Three Rivers Running Company store between now and the end of February. So moving on, what's exciting for 2021?
Looks like we have some exciting things coming up in 2021, Mike. Yes.
These are, you'll see on the screen, these are our club series races that we put on every year. The first one's coming up here in a couple weeks, the Fanny Freezer on February 20th.
Registration's open.
Registration now open. These are joined by our Friendship Series. These are the events put on by other organizations, and these all combined with the club series to make the point series races and the Iron Runner Challenge. We have, what's the next slide? Is it, we talk about the Iron Runner?
No, this is
The Iron Runner series, and also the information on the club series and the friendship series is now on the Fort Wayne Running Club website. You can go to that, look under the Iron Runner tab, and that will give you all the information on how you can get points, volunteer points, and what kind of points you can get for the others. So again, thanks for all the winners, and pass it on.
Mike, thank you so much. We really appreciate your being here to present these awards and your continued fantastic job at being the points director for the Fort Wayne.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. So if we aspire to be a 2021 points winner, Fanny Freezer is coming up. Registration is open, and our race director, Kathy Berghoff, has let us know that we have the approval from the Allen County Health Department to have an in-person event. So please go register and see us up in Show Park on the 20th in 2 weeks. Promise you we're going to get all this Vortex stuff out of the way and have a great in-person event in 2 weeks and start off the 2021 points series. So we hope to see you there. I'm going to ask Frank Murphy to step back in. We're going to start some special awards here. So Frank, and I'm actually going to step out for a few moments and let some other people come in that are going to do some special awards.
Okay.
Over to you, Frank. Okay.
Well, the first award we're presenting right now is the Volunteer of the Year Award, and it's named in honor of Don Lindley, who is a charter member of the Fort Wayne Running Club. And Don has been a wonderful, supportive member of the running community for so long. And if you've been in a race, you've probably seen Don. And I've had him cheer me on or pat me on the back or help me with some gear. I've seen Don at a number of races, and just chatting with him is a pleasure. And the fact that he continues to work within the running community, helping with trail maintenance or whatever. And it doesn't matter what Don is doing to help. He's the perfect individual for us to name this award for. He has personified volunteering in the running community. So it's a pleasure to name this after Don. And then our recipient, we actually are giving it to 2 folks this year, and I don't think they know it, but our first one is to Stacy Hartman and Tim Zumstein. They have been a member of the board. They joined the same time I did, I think. They've been on the board for at least 4 years. Stacy was the volunteer coordinator at one point, and she did that for a couple of years and became our secretary. Tim has been the treasurer for the last 4 years. They've been race directors. They volunteer at other events that they're not responsible for as directors. They have been model board members. They have been just wonderful crew and support for us at our races, and I've been cheered on and patted on the back and personally enriched by being with them at races or working on the board with them. It's entirely apt and utterly appropriate to recognize these two folks as just outstanding volunteers. They're amazing individuals, and it's been a pleasure to work with them, and the running club has been, the Fort Wayne Running Club has certainly been blessed that they've been a part of our organization. So thank you to Tim and Stacy, our volunteers. We have 2 other awards. I've been fortunate the last couple of years to work with the RRCA, which is the Road Runners Club of America, and they are the Fort Wayne Running Club's parent organization. We're a member of the RRCA. And one of the things the RRCA does, much like we do, is recognize folks with their end of the year awards. So in talking with the RRCA headquarters a few months ago, we got 2 awards to present for Lifetime Volunteer Achievement. And these 2 awards, oddly, they're present to actually receive these. First, Aaron Brady. I'll ask her to come on real quick just so I can present to Aaron. So, lifetime of volunteering. Thank you very much. And our second one is to Mike Clendenin, who you just saw a second time. And what's cool about these awards is that there you go. That's what it looks like. What's really cool about both of these awards, their recognition of just thousands of hours of serving the running community. And we've had several previous award winners here in our club. And I do want to point out too that each of these awards are nominated by members of the running community. So as we get throughout the year, by all means, keep in mind that you see somebody who just encourages you, a volunteer that you particularly appreciate, or you notice them at many of the events that you're a part of. When September, October, November rolls around, we're asking for nominations, and we want that to come from the club membership. So by all means, submit people's names through the running club website, through that contact information, and you can nominate folks. And there's nomination forms that will be released a little bit later. But these were nominated by club members and by board members in recognition of what they've done. This isn't one person pulling a name out of a hat and deciding to give an award. It's community recognition for jobs extremely well done. So thank you to all of our volunteer award winners.
Yay.
We're going to bring Aaron and Judy on to present our next award.
Hi, Judy. Hey, Aaron, great to see you. I know. We're going to keep the shall we say, to go tag along right with this award. We're going to keep the spirit of the day going with our next award called the Barbie Scroggum Spirit of Running. And it is with our great honor that we've titled this award with Barbie Scroggum because of so much of truly who she was. And she was very, very active with the club for several decades, and she was never one to really you'd never see her a lot volunteering at a race, or she wasn't a race director, she wasn't on the board, but she was an inspiration to all of us. You'll probably remember the picture that you see on Facebook right now. That's truly Barbie. She loved to be colorful, from head to toe, and she always had matching sunglasses. In addition to that, her blonde hair was just flying in the wind with a smile from cheek to cheek. She just glowed. She just glowed at the spirit of running, and it was truly an amazing person that I feel very honored to have known and really kind of have kept me inspired through the years to stay very active with the club. I do that mean that from my heart, because she's one of those individuals that just it kept inspiring me to stay active with the club. And one of 2017, she just capped for all of us inspirational, motivational moments where, 2017, unfortunately, she battled with cancer, and she went through that year with cancer treatment. But at the same time, she finished the 2017 Iron Runner series, and she was at the banquet 2018 and received her award. Just amazing woman, and just very tickled that we can have her name affiliated with this award. One of her quotes is that this is living. That was one of her quotes that she would say several times, and just love to say it. And so keeping that in mind, Erin, you're going to announce our winner, huh? Who do we have? Who do we have for our
I am.
our
Should I tell
recognition?
the reasons or the name first?
Of however you'd like
Okay.
to let it flow.
So I will announce the Barbie Scroggins Spirit of Running Award goes to Todd Sullivan. And the reason that the board selected Todd for this year was I think most of us found running as an outlet. When everything was uncertain and everything in life was kind of chaotic, we had running to go to, and that was the normalcy that we could regain in our lives. And Todd's no exception, but his running also became very chaotic in this past year. And if you were fortunate enough to watch a lot of his YouTube videos that he had put out for us, you can see some of the energy that he brought to the running community. So he would go on, and he has a YouTube, The Extra Mile, where he would share posts about stretching or running posture or injury prevention. In addition to that, he diaried a lot of his training runs, is because probably I think 8 or 9 years ago, Todd signed up to run the Bear 100-mile race in Logan, Utah. And then with some very kind peer pressure, he signed up again to run it last year with a group of friends. And so, the training starts, and it's 6 months of training through all the elements there. And, he videoed a lot of these things and felt very confident going into it, that he was ready for it. It's altitude, it's all of those nasty things that the mountains can bring. And so, in late September, journeyed out there, started the race 6 a.m. Things were going really well. And somewhere around mile 35, Todd got off course. 6 miles off course in a 100-mile race. It's kind of a big deal. Yeah. But he turned himself around, got back, and at that point then he was fighting cutoffs. You have a certain amount of time, and by the time he got to mile 51, he had timed out, and they pulled him from the course. They wouldn't let him continue. But at that point, he didn't go back and, in Todd's words, lick his wounds or sulk about it. He changed his clothes, took a shower, and went to an aid station that was around 78 or 80 miles into the race, and helped all of the runners who were still out. So he went and volunteered then the remainder of the race. Instead of kind of sulking and pouting over that, he went and volunteered. So still having all that residual training, having the DNF stuck in his head, he was out bound to find another 100-mile race to do. He found one in New Mexico, was all, preparing plans to do it. Then the Indiana travel ban came, and they wouldn't allow people from Indiana to travel there. So there was strike 2. He did get into one that was rim to river, 100-mile race, was ready to go, had prepared himself, had continued training, tapered. The night before he was supposed to leave for the race, Todd spiked a fever. I went in the next morning and tested, and unfortunately, was ill and could not go to that race. So 3 strikes, 300-milers that he had trained and executed for. Before 2020 ended, he was not going to let it get the best of him, and he signed up to do the 24-hour 100-mile Treadmill Challenge. And he documented this. You can watch. He had everything set up in his basement for it. He had family, he had friends, he had all sorts of support, and committed himself to running 100 miles on the treadmill. in less than 24 hours, and it was, I think, 23 hours, 55 minutes. He completed it. So his sense of perseverance, tenacity, just the resilience it took to get through all of those, he never let any of those races discourage him. You know, he kept setting his sights on something else. So definitely the spirit of running, the videos he's put out to inspire all of us, to encourage us to keep us healthy and happy, to share a lot of his perspectives, his views, his success and challenges with us, is why we picked him as the 2020 Spirit of Running Award. So congratulations, Todd.
Our next award that we want to present, very much another one that's near and dear to me, is called the Golden Shoe Award, and it's not geared towards a club member, but it could be a club member. It could be, in fact, it could be any individual or organization or a community group or a business. You know, we're looking as a way to recognize an individual, an organization, a business for their generosity of time and effort, and maybe finances, but not necessarily, but possibly professional skills or some kind of a talent that they've given to the club in a certain way. But you know, definitely an award that can be a little bit more open, so that we can seek to recognize, honor an individual, an organization, a business that really helps to support the club's goals and needs. And so this year, like to honor Dr. Joseph Perkins. He is an area physician with IU Health, and you would recognize him from being at most all of our finish lines this past year. He provided an extremely important medical presence at our finish lines. He was at the Run in the Park, he was at Parlor City Trot, he was at the Run for Riley, he was at the Turkey Trot. You know, he provided a very important medical presence at our finish line, and you know, offered his skills as needed. So extremely thankful for Dr. Joseph Perkins for giving his professional time to be a part of our past year, our past 2020. So thank you, Dr. Joseph Perkins, for your time and talents that you have given to our club. And so with that, I'd like to invite Aaron. No, I think it's Steve, isn't it? Yeah, come on in, Steve. I'll just switch places. It's okay, I'll stay right with you.
All right, please do, yeah. So the next award we want to talk about is the Joe Ziegler Breaking Barriers Award. And there's a nice picture up on the screen here of Joe participating in a race with bib number 40. But Joe joined the Fort Wayne Running Club back in 1975. Actually, it was called the Fort Wayne Track Club back when Joe joined. And he was 39 years old at the time, and he was quite an accomplished runner. In 1987, he was diagnosed with a condition called retinitis pigmentosa. Now, for those of us like me, that's not a medical type person, it is tunnel vision. So Joe was literally going blind from the peripherals inward, and he really described his limited vision as being the width of a thumbnail. So you can imagine, if you're, you know, those of us who are, you know, fortunate enough to have full sight, if you're looking and you can only see a tunnel the size of your thumbnail, it had to be incredible. But Joe kept running. He wasn't going to let that barrier stop him from doing the thing that he loved in life the most. So he kept running. In a 2004 interview for the club newsletter, he talked about some of his vision problems, and he talked about some of the scarring he had all over his body from things like running into other people, street signs, bicycles, even automobiles, because Joe loved running. He was going to keep running, right? So he also talked about how he appreciated other club members for helping him along the way. They'd get him to events, direct him to go to registration, point him in the right direction, you know, maybe guide him on the course, and even direct him to the facilities. so that he could continue doing what he loved the most and keep running. It was one of his greatest joys, and no barrier, even blindness, that had his vision to the width of a thumbnail was going to keep him from doing it. We lost Joe about 4 years ago, and he loved running so much that he actually willed $2,000 to the Fort Wayne Running Club. So even as we lost Joe, he found a way to break barriers and give back to running that gave so much to Joe. So one thing we do right now to honor Joe is each year we give an award in his name, the Joseph Ziegler Breaking Barriers Award. So this year's award actually goes out to a couple. And out of respect for the couple's privacy, I'm not going to actually mention what the specific challenge was, but I think probably most of the people that are listening here and watching this today are fairly good friends with these folks and know them and probably already know and understand exactly what it was. But very much like Joe, I think it's fair to say that, you know, that one word really changed their immediate lives, and very much like Joe, they wouldn't let this barrier stop them. They're consistent supporters of the Fort Wayne Running Club as volunteers and as participants in our events. They're there without fail, and they're an inspiration to the Fort Wayne area running community. So it's my pleasure and my privilege to present the 2020 Joseph Ziegler Breaking Barriers Award to Tammy and Mike Moore. And we're going to bring Frank back in to present the 2020 President's Award.
So this is my last official act as club president. The President's Award is basically the catch-all award where the president gets to pick it and award it however he sees fit, he or she sees fit. So last year I presented my first President's Award to Sandy Junk. And my reason for doing that was she is the first person from the running club I met while in the middle of a race. I was doing Fort for Fitness, and Sandy and I shared about 4 miles together, and that's how I learned about the running club. And I presented it to Sandy in honor of every time we've ran a race and made a friend in the middle of a race. If you've ever done that, you just strike up the same pace with somebody who's a stranger. When you cross the finish line, you're friends. And with that introduction to the running club, when I was done, I wanted to know more about this organization, and it seemed fitting to give that award because of its personal significance to me, and how supportive and kind and generous Sandy was to me in the middle of my first race. This year, I get to present the award to an organization called Indiana Run for the Fallen. And Indiana Run for the Fallen is part of a larger organization called Honor and Remember, which was started by a father who lost his son, a soldier in Iraq. And he wanted to come up with a way to help Gold Star families recognize to honor and remember the sacrifice made by these soldiers. And a Gold Star family would be a family of a service member who was lost in service to the country. So one of the ways that Honor and Remember does this is they have memorial runs that are staged throughout the country. There's Indiana Run for the Fallen is one that I've personally participated in. There's a New York Run for the Fallen, a Virginia Run for the Fallen, an Arizona Run for the Fallen, and it's grown over the last several years. But basically what we've done, the Indiana Run for the Fallen would start in Fort Wayne and run to Indianapolis over the course of 3 days, about 48 miles a day. And we would stop each mile and hold a very short but powerfully meaningful memorial service for a fallen soldier. And then we would run another mile and do it again. And then we would run another mile and we would do it again. And there's about 20 members of the core team that run in a relay, 4 or 5 at a time. We carry the American flag, the state flag, the Honor and Remember flag, and then a smaller flag in honor of each soldier that's being recognized. And many times we would meet a runner's family at that memorial marker, and to run a mile for someone and then have a chance to hug their mom and dad, or their little boy or their little girl, or a brother or a sister. It was 3 very emotionally charged days to be a part of this. And we've had several other members of the running club that have participated in Run for the Fallen. They're making plans to run the 2021 edition of it. You can go to the website and look it up. I'm not sure if recruiting is open for that just yet. They actually, the leaders of the Run for the Fallen, Indiana Run for the Fallen, were going to join us for the banquet, and unfortunately, because we went virtual and so forth, that wasn't able to happen. But it's a wonderful organization, and I know they do some interesting things that would help raise awareness for supporting Gold Star families, and they do things to raise awareness and to help people get involved and plugged in. But really, the mission is to honor and remember the sacrifice of those that do it. And if nobody's there to meet us at a mile marker, we're still going to run that mile. We're still going to honor that soldier, to just honor and remember the sacrifice. So Indiana Run for the Fallen, I believe it's the first time Indiana ran it was 2015. And then that ran for 3 years. And then there was 1 year that we did a national Run for the Fallen where it started in California and it ended in Arlington Cemetery. And it took a couple of months. And it was, again, more members of the Fort Wayne Running Club actually participated for several of those days when they came through Indiana. And it's a wonderful organization that serves a wonderful cause. And it's with tremendous, it's a tremendous privilege to present Indiana Run for the Fallen Award for mixing running with honoring those who have paid the ultimate price in service to our country. So thank you to Indiana Run for the Fallen.
Thank you, Frank.
Bring Aaron
We're
back.
going to bring Aaron back up here to present the high school award.
Okay. I have the honor with Judy of presenting the annual Chris Brown Outstanding High School Runners in our area. And just a quick note about Chris Brown and the legacy of this award. Chris Brown was a cross-country runner for IPFW at the time, and lost a battle with cancer.
Yeah, he also ran actively at Bluffton High School. He all 4 years of high school. So, and his parents were active members of the club throughout the years. And so, yeah, very very grateful that we're able to honor Chris through our annual Outstanding High School Distance Runners.
We normally have Barry Peterson, who helps facilitate this. Barry, who's been a steward in the high school coaching community for decades, and has inspired and moved so many of those. So a shout out to Barry,
Yes.
and all of his involvement there. So with that being said, some of the qualifications to be included as far as a recipient to be honored as an outstanding high school runner, they need to be in a contingent county with Allen County. So it's Allen County and then the surrounding counties that we choose from. Typically, we look at the past year season, so it would be the spring track season and then the fall cross-country season. Unfortunately, as most of you know, the spring track season was non-existent this past year. So we considered the cross-country season that we had for the young athletes. And one of the things is that June, most teams start training and conditioning, and so they start in June and they condition pretty much on a daily basis until the state meet, which happened I think on Halloween this year. So the end of October, the 1st of November. So it's 5 to 6 months of pretty intense training for these young athletes. And I think I can speak on behalf of the team that I work with, that it was something that everyone looked forward to. Everyone was excited to get back out to train, to be outdoors. And although the meets looked a lot different without spectators, and a lot of the things that were put in place to make sure that the runners were safe and they could still participate, provided some new challenges, but I think these young people rose to those challenges. So if we have the 3 females that were selected, I think the females are first. So we have Addison Wiley, Ashlyn Minton, and Zoe Duffus. In going through and looking at all of these young ladies' results, I found out that Addison has competed in the state meet for the past 2 years, so this wasn't her first state meet on this one. She is a Huntington North High School junior. She's coached by Carrie Boxell, and she had a really successful season. She placed first in her sectional, first in her regional, fourth in the semi-state, and then fourth in the state meet with a time of 18:25. She ran as an individual. She was not there supported as a team, so she qualified as an individual on that. The second young lady is Ashlyn Minton from Carroll High School. She's a senior. She's coached by Phil Yoder. She has competed in the state meet for the past 3 years as well in cross country. I found that surprising. Each of these young ladies, each time they competed, they improved their time and their position in the state meets as well, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So in her 2020, she placed third in her sectional, second in her regional, 7th at semi-state, and then 14th at the state meet with a time of 18:44. So
Wow.
incredibly fast times on a really challenging course down in Terre Haute. Both Ashlyn and Zoe, both part of the Carroll team, were on the championship Carroll girls team that won the entire state the prior year. So incredible that we recognized that as well. Zoe Duffus, I've watched Zoe run for many years beyond high school. She is also coached by Phil Yoder. She has competed in the state meet all 4 years of her high school cross country. And I didn't speak to track as much just because we didn't look back through the track results on those. But Zoe has had an outstanding career as a high school runner. She placed first in her sectional and then also in the semi-state. And she came in the state meet second place overall, second individual.
She
to
led
cross
part of
the
the way,
finish.
didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a very
was a
close
tight
race.
race.
It was just a matter of a few seconds between first and second. So 18:02 was her final finishing line or finishing time on that. So just an incredible season for Zoe. Congratulations to all 3 ladies, and our outstanding high school runner of the year is Zoe Duffus. So we will have plaques for all 3 ladies. Again, they will be available. No, we will get them dropped off to the schools. We'll somehow get the plaques to the coaches to the schools for the young ladies to have there. So congratulations to Addison, Ashlyn, and Zoe for an outstanding season. All right, shifting gears to our male distance runners. Looking back, we have a similar trend with those. We have Austin Hall. He is from Columbia City. He is a junior. He's coached by Jason Madison, and then also Heath. I know Heath is an assistant coach there at Columbia City as well. Ethan Bates, who's a senior at Homestead High School, coached by Ian Wilson, and Karsten Schlegel, a senior at Concordia Lutheran, coached by Scott Steffen. So those are 3 candidates, again, from the area. Looking back at trends for their cross country, Austin has competed at the state level for 2 years now. In the 2020 season, he placed 5th at a sectional, 8th at regional, 14th at semi-state, and then 29th at state with a time of 16:13. Could you imagine running a 5K at 16:13? I can't. Wow, I wish. So an outstanding season. The Columbia City program has really been flourishing and developing. He has good teammates to help him train with that. So congratulations, Austin. Ethan, he's run at the state level again multiple times. I think this is his 2nd year. He was part of the 2019 Homestead team that took 6th place overall. So again, a strong team with Homestead as well. In 2020, he placed 9th at a sectional, 7th at regional, 10th at semi-state, 18th place at state with a time of 16:03. Wow, so incredible as well. And then our final young man is Karsten Schlegel, part of the Concordia Lutheran High School team. Again, Concordia last year won the state meet. He was on that team as well. He's run in the state meet 3 times for cross country. He was part of the 2019 and this year in 2020. Second place in the sectional, 3rd in the regional, 2nd in the semi-state, and 6th in the state meet with a time of 15:49. Wow. Yeah, so really fast times. Outstanding. It just seems like the times get faster each and every year. The athletes get a little bit better, tweak their training, and so our outstanding runner of the year is Karsten Schlegel. So congratulations.
So we'll make sure that the athletes definitely receive their awards and recognized in proper fashion. But congratulations to them and their teams and their coaches. Fantastic individuals, and proud that they're part of our running community.
Such enthusiasm and talent out there.
Yeah.
And hopefully this year the track season is shaping up for all of these young runners as well. Yeah. The last award that we have is called the Extra Mile. I think we came up with this award 2 or 3 years ago. Is that right, Judy?
Yeah, Liz Schlotz
Liz.
kicked it off. Thank you, Liz.
Yes. And so what it
Yes.
does. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, it's an award that could go to a team or to a coach or to an individual that has just gone above and beyond what the expectation would be for them in that particular season. So we've honored teams, and this year we have a special individual that is that let's go ahead and say a few things about his fantastic accomplishments.
Even if you haven't followed the cross country season much, or if you've not seen many of these stories, you probably have heard something of this young man. He's an 18-year-old junior who runs for Angola High School. Isaiah Sturry is quite the story. He has emerged as one of Indiana's best distance runners, and also one of America's. He's ranked as one of America's top team runners as well.
Oh wow!
So just phenomenal. And his story is quite compelling. He grew up in Ethiopia. He was 7,600 miles away from the flatlands of Indiana. Rural country. He was a shepherd at age 5. He would go out, he would work from sunrise to sunset.
Oh wow.
They had animals, they had goats, sheep, cattle, donkeys, chickens, all of those things, and it was his job then to go out and tend to those. Unfortunately, at a young age, he lost his mother, and he was taken in with his stepfather, and then he remarried, and things got a little bit tumultuous in his life, and he was jostled around a couple different households, and eventually he was sent to an orphanage, because he needed some support, and there wasn't that in place for him. When he was 11, he was brought to Indiana by Leroy and Tammy Sturry through their church and through an organization that worked to find homes for a lot of these young people. He was a non-English speaker. In fact, he had many different languages that he had learned over the years. So he was enrolled in school, a non-English speaker, and very quickly became a straight A student. Yes. And so over the years, as he acclimated to the new culture, to the new environment, was eventually adopted into the Sturry household. He started to try out sports, and I found that it was kind of funny. He tried soccer, but he didn't enjoy soccer because there was too much running involved.
Yeah.
Too much running. So middle school rolled around, and he was persuaded by a friend, hey, why don't you come out? Why don't you try running? And there they found out that he really had potential and talent. And so he began running in middle school and had kind of done well there, and then his high school career started. And he is just a junior, so he had freshman, sophomore, and now this is his junior year as well. So as a freshman, he placed 38th in the state meet for cross country. As a sophomore, he was 7th, and this past year in October, he was our champion cross country runner for the state of Indiana. Competed against every other high school cross country, and he won. He has big aspirations for the track season as well. He has done incredibly well, and is being scouted by many places for his his upcoming decisions beyond that. So hopefully there's a great track season for him to go, and he has some ambitions for some of the goals this spring on things he wants to do. Teammates, coaches, he's humble. He works for everything that he has. He'd get up at 5:30 in the morning to get his runs in before he'd work for the day. So for that reason, we have selected Isaiah Sturry as our Extra Mile Award recipient this year. Okay, closing remarks. Steve, do you want to come
I'm
in with
gonna
Judy
jump
for
in and ask
closing
Judy to stay
remarks?
there if she would, please, yes. Yep.
And we may have some comments or questions. We want to, as we know, no comments or questions. So anybody out there in Facebook land, as we wrap up and make closing remarks, we would welcome any comments, questions that you may have. This is our first time of
I'm doing a virtual.
I'm doing a
Yeah.
virtual Facebook Live
Exactly.
a gathering, and we're so glad that we're able to do this. You know, because we wanted so bad to want to have that face-to-face banquet this year. We waited as long as we possibly could, and Frank and I were on the phone and emailing multiple times, and it just knew that it wasn't going to fall together. So we're very grateful that we could offer you this Facebook Live event, and very grateful to the Heims to allow us to be here in their home, and thank you. So as we're wrapping up and saying some final comments, if anybody's out there has any questions or comments that you'd like to put out for us to talk about, that is absolutely fine. Otherwise, let's highlight a few things to close.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. One of the positive things I think everybody, including me, was really looking forward to the 2021 banquet and guest speaker Jeff Galloway. I think that everybody knows that Jeff Galloway was slated to be our guest speaker, and in the running world, Jeff Galloway is pretty much a household name. He he's often referred to as America's coach. He's a lifetime runner. He participated in the 1972 U.S. Olympic team in the 10,000 meters, and millions and millions of runners and walkers have read his books, taken his online courses, and have in some way received advice from Jeff Galloway. He's particularly famous for his run, walk, run method, which is a way for for people to participate in even long distance events like the marathon and be able to have the energy and the strength to be able to finish those strong and participate for everybody. So Jeff Galloway has agreed to participate in our 2022 banquet as guest speaker. So that's something we can all look forward to and be excited about in the next year. I'm very confident that as we get through 2021 and vaccines do their job, that we get to 2022, we're going to be able to have an in-person awards banquet and enjoy Jeff Galloway as our speaker. So exciting news and something for us to look forward to. Judy, question for you. How long have you been on the board with the Fort Wayne Run Club?
Oh gosh, I don't even know if I know the specific year. I know I moved to Fort Wayne. I know when I moved to Fort Wayne. I moved to Fort Wayne in 1982, and I actually, that was in June, and that summer I just happened to be in Foster Park as they were doing the marathon, the Fort Wayne Marathon. This is when the Fort Wayne Marathon was in the summertime. I think it was with the Three Rivers Festival. I was living in an apartment complex not too far from the park, and so I remember being in the park. I think there's all these runners going by, and it's the marathon, in the heat of the summer, and it's like, oh wow, there is an active running community here. This is really cool. And at the time, I was working at St. Joseph Medical Center as a dietitian. And I met somebody as I worked there that invited me to the banquet. And that year, so that was probably the spring of '83. I know I'm giving my whole testimony here, aren't I? So I won't talk too much here. But anyway, it was that was at the YWCA there on I guess that's Wells Street, and we did the old potluck years. We had a potluck at the YWCA. So, it was right after that I joined the club. So it would have been around that spring, summer of '83 when I joined the club. And then so I started getting active in the board probably later 80s, 87, 88. And it's just, it's a club for all runners and walkers. And, sometimes we give the impression that it's all about the races, but it's not. We have so much more that we offer individuals to and families. Yeah.
No, well, I asked that question specifically because we certainly appreciate your experience and your contributions and your wisdom. I think that Mike and Frank would join me in saying that, when a member has a question, they usually ask somebody on the board. When somebody on the board has a question, they usually ask an officer. When an officer has a question, we ask Judy. So don't go anywhere because I need you, Judy.
Well, and I know that and Don is there too,
Yeah.
and Jerry
Yes,
Mazak and some others in the community still. That they're definitely we could turn to those wise individuals too. And I do. It's people know that I like to save things. I do still have all of the Fort Wayne Running Club newsletters, so I can always go back to a year to identify what happened.
And already 1 month in, you've helped me with some of that information, so thank you
So-
very much. It's appropriate that you join me to close
Yeah,
out here this
That's all
afternoon.
right. Glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Any questions? I'll ask one more time. Nothing?
No
So,
questions. Okay.
well,
All right. Okay.
we surely appreciate everybody that joined us. I think we have a really, really exciting year ahead of us. We really had a fantastic 2020 in light of what's
Yes.
happened, and just have some really good thing. We got an in-person fanny freezer coming up on February the 20th, so join us up in Shove Park. We'll get the polar vortex out of the way, and we'll just be cold enough to be a freezer, just a little bit of a freezer for the fanny freezer this year. So
Yeah.
coming up, and we'll
And
Boy.
become a member, because you have to be a member
Yeah.
by the Fanny Freezer to actually be a part of the point series. So
Yep.
definitely to make sure that you're a member, and so then you can be a part of the point series. Either renew, or we definitely would welcome new members. Frank.
What you get for being a member, discounts on the races, discounts at the clubs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so
Yes.
if you go to FortWayneRunningClub.org, it highlights some of the benefits of being a member, but you get discounts at the area running and apparel stores, and get discounts on our point series races. So, so please join. If you're interested in becoming a Fort Wayne Running Club member, you can do so via the website at FortWayneRunningClub.org, or you can go to the Fort Wayne Running Club Facebook page, follow the link, and sign up. We had talked about it a little bit earlier, but there's 1 year plans, 2 year plans, 3 year plans, and you can do it as an individual or a family. And for those of you out there, I'm going to appeal one more time. If you are a member and you want to become active with the Fort Wayne Running Club, whether it's serving on the board, or doing something like being an assistant race director, or some committee work, reach out to us. We're always looking for people that want to volunteer their time and their talents and help to do those kinds of things. And we certainly appreciate and need the help. So, I think the 2021 season that's upon us is going to be an exciting one. We have Mike announced a great slate of races. We're going to hope that they all happen in person. I think they will. Fanny Freezer in 2 weeks will be a great start to that. We're going to be off and running. So join the Fort Wayne Running Club and come out and see us, please. Judy, anything else in closing you'd like to toss in there?
No, again, thank you, Steve, for
Always.
hosting this Facebook Live. I'm so glad that we're able to be here this afternoon
my
and
pleasure.
share information. And for all of you watching and listening, thank you so much for clicking on and being a part of our event today. So know that this is your club. This is your running club. We really want to hear from you and encourage you to be involved and to sign up for the races. And so it's an honor, privilege to be able to be active in this club, and encourage you to be active too.
Yeah. So I want to thank everybody for attending. I want to thank our tech driver, Tina Christie, for keeping our presentation moving forward. Thank you. And I want to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. I hope that we're really, we really would have loved to see everybody at a banquet in person, but we wanted to at least offer something when we can talk to you and do these awards presentations and tell you a little bit about what we've been doing and what we plan to do for 2021, and invite you all to keep running and come out and see us. So good afternoon, everybody. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and see you at a race real soon. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
That's right.
That's
Hey,
it.
before we take the big ones home, can we take them out of the wrappers and take pictures to post them on the Facebook page?
Good. Yeah.
Just like Todd's, so there'd be a picture.
The special
But-
ones, yeah, that makes sense.
We couldn't do all the little ones because they've already been delivered.
Yeah.